Hello and welcome to Beaver's Hobby channel. This is the final video of my WLtoys series drift with all upgrades and mods. I will walk you through everything I have done to this car and how to make the best out of it using the standard parts as much as possible. I will also show you the cost of this project, everything from the car down to every nut and bolt. Before I start, I would like to tell you that links for all the parts and full videos of each mod are in the description below. This car started life as a K989 monster truck, because back in 2016, the only WLtoys 1/20th scale that came with metal swing shaft was the monster truck. And because metal swing shafts are more expensive than wheels and drift tires, I decided to get the monster truck and modify it into drift car. With that out of the way, first, let us look at the essential upgrades. One of the most important things is tire, and yes, the choice is still Kyosho Mini Z drift tires MDT001 with 1.5 offset wheels. These tires offer low grip and great control. When they were new, they were very slippery, but after a bit of run-in, the grip will improve and the car will get even easier to control. At the front, I installed front one-way from Hobby and use long swing shafts or universal shafts 10.5mm from Atomic, so I don't have to mod the drive cups. This is also how you can use any Mini Z all-wheel drive differentials with WLtoys without any mods. At the back I used DIY CS gear with 15T pinion and modded solid axle to give it 1.875 CS ratio. You can find this kind of gear easily on the internet by searching for plastic gear for small robots and DIY. They are going to come in a bag like this. And there they are, 3 most important things you need for CS drift: drift tire, front one-way, and rear CS gear. Next are electronic upgrades. Actually, stock electronics are fine for drifting already. These upgrades that I have done are not important, but they help me controlling the car much easier. First upgrade is the radio. I use Radio-Link RC3S with standard receiver without gyro. And I have changed the pins to 90 degrees for smaller footprint. I have also upgraded the motor to brushless. This is a Pulse Hobby 1410 and it is exactly the same size as 130 brush motor. So you can use it with other cars with 130 type motor too, namely Mini Z, Atomic and Mini Q for example. This motor is labeled as 6000 kV. So far I only see this one and 7500 kV that are widely available. To be honest, they all feel much less powerful than they're supposed to be. Let's put this one on speed checker and see how fast it can go, comparing it with my worn-out brush setup and the Scorpion 9500 kV. Well, that's a surprise. The ESC is XC10A, which pairs with the motor perfectly. And to get the most out of it, I also got the programming card with the ESC. These ones that I have are from Aliexpress, but they are the same ESC and programming card in Hobbyking too. Putting all these together also decreases the weight to 125 grams. From 141 grams of my previous setup. Another great thing that I have found from using brushless with programmable ESC is that I can change the character of the motor to give more or less power from timing and how violent it starts by changing the punch setting. Brushless setup that I have also runs very efficiently. I get about 1.5 hours of running time out of it. Better still, the motor runs very cool. I can even put my finger on it after running without burning my flesh. Last electronic part is servo. I have changed it to Power HD 1600A for better precision and longer servo horn. It is a bit longer than original servo, so I had to file the front of the servo mount off, then cut the back pole off, drill the top and run a screw through it. I also put this ball cap on the end of the screw, so I won't cut myself every time I hold the car. Another suggestion for servo is the Jennings, which has metal gear, so if you are not sure about your driving ability and still crash a lot, I highly recommend this one. One thing to keep in mind is Jennings has reverse direction from other servos, so you can't use it with original transmitter. You need a transmitter that can reverse channel. On to the mods and setup. First mod is the maximum turning angle that I show you every time, but I have not talked about how I did it. This mod can be a bit tricky, but it doesn't require additional parts, except one small screw. First, cut the ball link that connects the knuckle to the servo off. Drill a hole through the knuckle arm a bit further in and drill into the middle of the ball link that we just cut off too. The final step is gluing a small screw and put it through the arm into the ball link and then wait until the glue set, and it is done. To do this, you better have a transmitter that can set endpoint adjustment or EPA, because the wheels might hit the shock absorbers, so you have to dial down the steering. The other reason is you might need to change the different endpoint from left to right, because this mod changes the steering geometry. One other thing that is good to have after doing this mod is the adjustable link from MiniQ. Since WLtoys is wider, I use the longer link for the steering rod on the servo. Unfortunately, it is a bit longer than necessary, so I cut the end of both sides a bit, and it is perfect. Now I can adjust the rod until I don't have to trim the steering. On the subject of adjustable link, I have modded all the links to be adjustable, so I can get all the alignments just right. For the suspension arms, I cut them in half, drill the middle, cut the M2 screws to size, and file the sharp edges from cutting off. Finally, putting them together, and I have a DIY adjustable link. As for the steering rod, I cut the original in half and then cut it off a bit more, drill the middle, and used shorter rod from MiniQ to make adjustable front toe. One other thing I have done is free up all the linkages, so the suspension is free to move, making handling much more predictable. Finally, I make the bumper out of the lid of a yogurt bucket, then stick the foam on top of it. It works really well. It is flexible, and if I break it, I can just cut another piece of plastic to replace it. Now that all the linkages are adjustable and working well without blockade, let's look at the suspension settings. Starting from toe, at the front I have 2 degrees toe out for more aggressive steering, and 0 rear toe so I can hold the slide easier. For camber, I have 1 degree front camber and 2 degrees rear camber. Spring is softer at the front, using only 1 seat pad. At the back, I made custom seat pads 0.9mm thick instead of stock 1.5mm, using them together giving me 2.4mm spring preload. Next is ride height. The ride height can be adjusted by putting M2 screw in the pre-existing hole of lower suspension arm. I have 2mm at the front and 3mm at the back. I have also added 4.5 grams of weight to the front for more front-end grip. Gearing is 12T pinion at the motor for maximum torque and acceleration. Of course, the motor mount needs a bit of modding to accommodate smaller pinion gear. Finally, the ESC settings. I have start power at 12%. Timing is low because I want it to run slow and keep the car in control. Other settings are on the screen. You can pause the video if you want to read. The last thing about this car is the body that a lot of people have asked me about. This is a clear body from Hobby MiniQ for 102mm wheelbase, but I cut the rear wheel arches from 98 to 102mm. It is very old now and I don't think you can find it nowadays. Now let us look at the cost of this project. Again, you can pause the video if you want to read. And here is how it drifts. That's it for this video and the end of the WLtoys CS Drift project. After this, I will modify this car into rear-wheel drive drifter using the least extra parts possible. You can look forward to that. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon if you haven't done it yet to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Thank you for watching and see you again next time.